You either live by the gun or you die by the sword.
Female revenge comes full circle as we bookend our series with a final film starring Meiko Kaji as the target of a blind woman's curse.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Good, the Bad, the Weird MicroViews. I'm Nicho.
And I'm Chris.
Over some of the other ones because it does kind of lead into our next series of movies.
It's at least in the same hemisphere.
Yeah. There's blindness and revenge.
There is blindness, revenge, and swords.
Yes.
And swords. So, yeah, no, it does all tie together. There's some interesting overarching themes in this movie that you could kind of say go along with the next group.
Yeah, so Blind Woman's Curse is written by Teruo Ishii and Chusei Sone, directed by Ishii, starring Meiko Kaji as Akemi Tachibana, Hoki Tokuda as Akio Goda, Makoto Sato as Tani Sochi, and it is about a leader of a Yakuza game that is the Curse. And I was unaware of this. Mm-hmm. This is the last installment of the Rising Dragon series that was supposed to be the competing franchise against the Red Peony Gambler.
Oh.
As well as the only one in that franchise that has supernatural elements. And also stars Meiko Kaji. She's not in the other two.
Okay. Maybe that would explain the numerous questions I have in this movie.
Well, I might have some answers. And I do actually have a source for more of the history around the movie. It's audio commentary by Japanese film specialist Jasper Sharp. And before we really get too far into it, I do want to get into the genre of what Blind Woman's Curse is.
Okay, yes, because this is a combo genre in a way.
Yeah, it's one we haven't really covered.
No.
It does technically fall into the eroguro genre, which is eroticism mixed with grotesqueness. But I will say it is on the lighter side of this genre. With Ishii being one of the biggest names in this movement with The Joy of Torture, Orgies of Ito, Inferno of Torture, and Horrors of Malformed Men, all of which are fantastic.
If you say so. The titles aren't great, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I'm fair. But this is also early in Sone's career, who he would later go work in more on the Pinku side of the flicks with like the Angel. He worked on a couple of the Angel Guts movies.
Gotcha.
And of note of like the cast, I'm not going to reintroduce Meiko Kaji. We all know who she is by now. Of
course.
This is the last film of Tokuda. She was actually the last wife of Henry Miller, who wrote Tropic of Cancer, which was a weird tie-in that I never would have thought about.
That is... Yeah, that's not a connection I would have known.
Which she also opened up a bar later named after the same book.
Oh, cute.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, no, it's a little. I did some reading. It's a little more complicated, and
of course
they potentially didn't consummate the marriage. So
I hope she made some money out of it at least.
I don't think she made too much out of it.
Bummer.
But Sato is the voice. There's some other stuff that he's been in, but not too big for the American audience. But he is the voice of Tatarigami, which is the wild boar at the beginning of Princess Mononoke.
Okay, well. Yeah. Most of us have seen that, so that's good enough.
And if you haven't, go watch Princess Mononoke.
Oh, so good. It's so less weird than this movie.
Yeah.
Which is really kind of a stretch.
Well, and that's the thing, is like, this is the least weird of those movies I mentioned. There's also one, what's the name of it? It's The Blind Beast, that's really good. It's about this artist who kidnaps this woman to be like his muse for his next piece. And like, it's just this giant like fabric kind of body that they're having relations over and stuff. It's interesting. Interesting. This one, the symbolism in this one, I think is so in your face. Okay. Yeah, well, and it's also probably weird from an American standpoint, because don't get me wrong, there are some things that I found odd with the setup of this movie. Of like, I love the intro and the cool dragon tattoo across all like the dragon tattoo is so fucking dope, man. And it's right into like the action against overwhelming odds. It's setting up one clan against another. It's really setting up this classic Yakuza style movie, and then it gets really cheesy with cutting the woman's eyes and just the cat just right in there to lap up the blood.
And also, like, a lot of movies where there's a lot of extra wet, extra squirty blood that's not very realistic, but it shows up nicely on film. Mm-hmm. This one was tame where I didn't want it to be.
Well, welcome to 70s budget horror films.
Okay, interesting choice. Because there were multiple scenes, especially with the cat. Because sometimes the cat is a puppet, sometimes the cat is a real cat. Lick away at whatever person or thing they want.
Yeah.
And, like, it's just the cat licking skin. It's not like they've, like, got any blood. Because you don't want the cat to drink weird shit. But we couldn't have dyed some cat food red. Or, like, nothing. So if you look away for a half a second, you're just like, oh, kitty.
Yeah. Well, it is also a weird continuation of the Baka Neko movies, which been in Japanese cinema since the early days. We've lost a lot of the old classic ones, but this is kind of if I remember right, Japan didn't really have an insurgence of horror films until the 60s?
Yeah.
Late 60s, early 70s?
That makes sense. It also makes sense why this one, being a 70s film, has some very Western horror elements. Mm-hmm. The Black Cat's filming is very reminiscent of 60s, like, horror with the imagery, cat plus puppet.
Yeah.
There's a lot of close-up on a cat, which is clearly actually just meowing, but they've, like, superimposed a scream.
Yeah.
So, like, I see a lot of the, like, horror elements that they've brought in, but it's all done on top of this Yakuza film.
You need to watch Houseu.
I do need to watch Houseu.
Yeah, so this one is, on top of that, it is a little bit weird, too, because you kind of forget about the horror for a good chunk of it until about 22 minutes into the movie. And you kind of forget about it, and then even then, you forget about it in pieces until, like, skin starts getting peeled off, or, like, there's that tense moment at the circus where knives are being thrown at the woman.
Yeah, and there's a goofy man to distract you the whole time.
Yes, okay, so this is also...
Who is he? Why is he here?
The one with the loincloth and the top hat and suit top?
There's him. There's also a weird hunchback man who just Notre Dame's his way around the set.
Yeah.
Doing random shit.
It's part of the circus.
Yeah, I kind of got that, but also, like, why's he gotta look like that?
Well... I don't know about the hunchback guy. I think it probably comes from just it's a horror character, a horror trope that
sure.
The malformed man. Whereas the other guy,
yeah, what is Top Hat Man?
He's in that weird kind of clash of cultures and like the rapid modernization of Japan, but also like not like kind of bastardizing both cultures.
A bastardization is very apparent because his purpose in this film is confusing.
They're just the henchmen of the blind woman.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all they are.
This movie has so many weird elements that you feel like should be like some deep symbolism. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure if you sat down and thought with enough, like, if you drank long enough and then watched this movie, I feel like you could eventually get to... It's just confusing half the time because you're like, why is Quasimodo here in this scene?
Where's this going? Who's cursed her?
Yes.
Well, and there's also some stuff you got to think about too, is that culturally we don't necessarily have ties to it. And I'll get into this a lot more with next week's episode. Mm-hmm. And I do talk about it a little bit in our Lady Snowblood episode of like the untouchable people.
Yeah.
So kind of in the hierarchy, there's them, and then there's the blind people, and then the Yakuza who are kind of outside of it a little bit.
Okay.
But the blind people, their only professions were masseurs, musicians, and I'm blank. There was like one other career that they could ever have, and it was like those two. We talked a little bit about it in Quaiden with Hoichi the Earless. Like
sure.
In this one, she's gone to the outskirts of society with probably what we can assume is the untouchable people.
I guess that makes sense.
Even like from the Yakuza status to being an even further outcast from society. So not only is her brother killed, she's enacting revenge because she's been damaged herself, and she's had to fall to an even further outcast of society.
Sure. The other thing that I found interesting and really enjoyed about this movie is how many female Yakuza are featured in this film.
Yeah, so that's also a weird thing too, is most of these, it kind of continues a little bit the female in prison genre as well.
Sure.
Like when we start talking about this, I'm seeing more and more of like the weird mashup of all this too, because all the female Yakuza are more like, they're not even like lackeys. They're kind of these fangirls over Kaji's character.
Especially at the beginning. Because she's not good themselves and, like, to be a part of it.
Yeah, they just want to be around her because she's cool and she has this power. And again, like we talk about, this is an era where women traditionally didn't have power either.
Yeah.
And her being the head of this Yakuza family is something that's impressive. Well, and on top of that, them being what ends up happening is, we can assume all the other guys, except for the tail, the comedic relief. I like
the tail.
I like the balance of humor in this one, but he is the last person that we know of that is the head in the end of what the curse is supposed to be. And it's the tragedy of this movie is that because of Tachibana's actions, these women have unintentionally, well, maybe not as innocent because they're in prison at one point, have become this. The unintentional victims of this curse.
The other thing that I thought was interesting is just thinking about the tattoo in itself. Because we have, I think, 5 girls. One is the head, and then it's just snake body or dragon body all the way down, and then the one guy is the tail. Which I find interesting, because theoretically, if the head girl dies, you could add on to the tattoo of the next person to take over the leadership role. He can never rise from being the butt.
No, never. And that's why he's the comedic relief.
Yeah.
Always chasing the girls and never getting any.
That's true.
Well, and also it's a little bit of a weird tattoo. I forgot to ask my brother about this, and I haven't gotten too far into my other tattoo books. But from my understanding, it's also a weird tattoo in its own right.
Yeah.
Because it's a connected piece rather than being the traditional back piece we think of today. And granted, I don't know the full history of like when that proper back piece came about, but
sure.
From our perspective of what we expect for a Yakuza tattoo, it's way different. And granted, the era it's set, it's the old hand and needle of like just jabbing people.
Yeah, but I also think that it's different in a Yakuza tattoo, that not only is it girls getting, like, they're the tattooed ones and they show it proudly. The idea of all of them having to be present for the tattoo to work is very, like, indicative of the story, and I think whether or not the tattoo is necessarily historically correct in any way kind of overrides itself in the fact that they are like a symbolic unit.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing, is like, that's as they get chopped away piece by piece. It's in a way, but the tattoo is such a part of Tachibana's identity and her clan as a whole, from what we can tell. Yeah. That as that's getting cut away again and again and again, you see pieces of her falling apart of like, oh, she has nothing. It's something that's so far beyond her power that she can't even get a hold. She has zero control over this. Unless she takes her own life, basically. Exactly. Cut off the head of the snake or cut off the head of the dragon, basically.
Yeah, a great illustration for it.
No, very much so. And like that's the other thing too, with like the weird descent into Irizumi or Japanese hell. Like there's a lot of odd elements that come together for this movie that I can see why you were very confused and had a lot of questions in regards to this.
Yeah, there's a lot of imagery, there's a lot of scene choices that, not necessarily bad, they just don't necessarily seem to mean anything to me. Yeah. But they're fun, I enjoyed them, I had a good time watching the whole film.
No, I apologize. It's not Irizumi. Irizumi is another Japanese movie about tattoos.
Gotcha.
Jikoku is hell.
Gotcha.
Yeah, gotcha. Sorry. Correction before people come at me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing is like it is. That's why I do appreciate this weird combination of other things too, because there's like when we talk about this in and out of like cultural exchange, there's that they're doing the William Tell play on stage. And it's just like it's something that I forget was in the movie. And so I'm like, that's a weird combination because like it never fully goes into East versus West, like how or Westerners versus the Japanese culture, like Lady Snowblood does.
Yes, and it's not even as gently interlaced in the movie like Lady Snowblood. This one is very in your face. It's very abrupt, and yet you don't feel like it has the same clear messaging. No. You're just kind of left hanging wondering, like, was that an insult? Was that supposed to be a parallel that I missed? And you never really know. Granted, you could do a bunch of research and find out, I'm sure. But, like, I don't know if Blind Woman's Curse is the movie I would say do a bunch of research for.
No, and that was my frustration, or not my frustration, maybe my little bit of disappointment in the commentary. While it's very informative of the film industry around that era, and a couple little historical, cultural contexts, it doesn't really dive into the movie itself so much. He talks more about the people in the movie or the people around it.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's fine too, but like, yeah, this movie has, it doesn't, in comparing it to other of Ishii's works, it is the most disjointed. At least most of the other ones have kind of this overarching story or overarching theme, whereas like this one there's revenge, and then the revenge kind of happens in pieces as we get other weird elements mixed in it, where it doesn't necessarily, like we talk, and in a way it's fitting with pairing with Kill Bill, because it's such a Frankenstein movie where it just doesn't flow as well as Kill Bill did as a Frankenstein movie, at least Volume 1.
No, I agree. I think the other thing that's like a missing link for me is it reads a lot the same way that a lot of movies that try to retell a classic story, like example being Dante's Inferno, where a lot of movies that claim, oh, well, it's just a retelling of Dante's Inferno, and if you've read Dante's Inferno, it's a very clear progression, you have the same stories, the same characters. I got the feeling that was something I should have picked up on here. And yet nowhere could I find like this is a retelling of a classical walk through hell sort of movie.
Yeah, it's not like Japanese Hell where it retells the telling of like the layers of hell. Comparing the reason we've talked about doing that one at one point too, because it ties a little bit into true crime with the person who's witnessing all this is the survivor of Aum Shinrikyo.
Yeah, and nowhere could I find like, this is some of the source material for this film. It's such a Frankenstein movie that it just kind of assumes you can follow along, or at least have fun and ride along. Yeah,
and it doesn't, of the Cursed Cat movies I've seen, or the Bakeneko movies, it is so barely in there as well that the cat just kind of rarely shows up throughout this one. Like, we talk about, it's like, okay, well, they're out doing something. Oh, cat killed one of them. Now they're kind of in panic mode. Oh, cat killed another one.
Yeah, and I won't lie. Having not known that this was like a whole franchise cat situation.
Well, it's here's the thing. It's not even a franchise, because like this is the one that has horror elements compared to the other two Yakuza flicks. But I'm just talking as a general genre.
This one, the cat is in it so lightly, and yet predominantly enough that you remember the cat. The scenes where the cat are in it are good. They're interesting. And yet it's so lightly sprinkled throughout the movie that you kind of forget the cat is supposed to be like a symbolic essence to the film.
Yeah,
he just like jump scare cat.
It's the creature that's carrying out the blind woman's curse.
Yeah,
or it's the instrument of the curse.
And yet the cat is only ever seen enacting things. It's not like we get a glimpse of it walking in the background or transitional shots with the cat to remind you that the cat is like always lurking. We spend all of the scenes not directly looking at the cat trying to kill or lick somebody, watching Yakuza girls do stuff.
Yeah.
Which is interesting, but it does mean that when the cat shows up, you're like, is the cat... What is the cat? Where is the cat?
Yeah, and I think that's the one thing as a Western audience is if you're not familiar with some of the rough lore around this movie, it's going to be a little bit hard to follow. I mean, at least in Hausu, they explain that a witch who lives so long can turn into a cat.
Yeah, that is definitely missing from this film.
Yeah, and same with like Kuroneko, they explain that away too. So like,
yeah, this one, the cat almost feels unreal because the cat is like just doing random stuff.
Yeah.
And it's not even in the like, oh, every time this person dies an owl appears, so clearly the owl did it sort of situation. It's more like the cat is just in this movie. And granted, like I said, it's a lot of real cat, and I understand that working with a real cat, probably a pain in the butt. I can't imagine it does what you want most of the time.
Oh god, no.
So, like, I get that we, like, barely look at the cat and we reuse some shots of the cat. and yet it did confuse me greatly.
Yeah.
Because, like, what is the cat?
Well,
where is the cat?
Well, I think the issue with that is, one, like you said, the cat's not really integrated into it, but
no.
It also isn't particularly a character-heavy movie either with, like, Tachibana's character. Like, there's no real, like... I don't want to say growth because, like, there's a lot of movies where characters don't grow, and that's fine.
Sure.
But, like, this one, it ends up becoming this weird double revenge movie.
Yes.
Because she, in return, is going to kill this woman for killing the innocent peeps that had nothing to do with this at all.
Yes. The other thing that I find confusing about this film is there's so many good visual imagery moments that really stand out. They are clear, they are great storytelling devices, and yet this movie does not use them well. Mm-mm. And so you start off being like, oh, dragons, I understand where some of that imagery comes from. Yakuza tattoos, I know where some of that imagery comes from. We can play with that. We can already started that trend. Mm-hmm. And then this movie's just like, haha, hard left. Never mind.
Yeah.
Forget all that. You're like, oh, okay. Oh, never mind.
Yeah, and I think the hard thing is because it's not done stylistically like with Kill Bill, where it feels like while different parts of the world, this all takes place in one area that has like the little seepings of hell that come up through.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
And honestly, like, I think probably the other thing that you're coming to, and maybe what you're trying to get to, is that the ending with, like, their final duel.
Yes.
And, like, the revenge never fully comes to, like, it doesn't feel resolved because it's just, like, almost a handshake that, hey, we're both horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially because the rest of this movie, that didn't seem to be an option for anyone. Mm-mm. It was a very clear-cut, like, X happens, so then Z happens.
Yes.
And then the end, you're like, okay, X is happening, waiting for Z, and instead it's just like, hey, man, we both suck.
Yeah.
Yep, bye. Like, what?
At least her sparkling kimono is kind of cute.
I mean, okay, I will say that. The staging of this movie is not great. I didn't get the sense that there was a lot of money or time put into this one.
Oh, no.
Which, fine. That's not a critique. However, I will say the costuming for this movie is pretty good. Especially for one that's definitely using, like, other films, movie props and outfits and stuff. I thought all of the outfits looked really good. They did do a decent amount of color work. It's not super strong.
Yeah.
But it's enough to kind of give you a sense of who's going to be the important one in the shot, because they're wearing the brightest colors. You get a good sense of what direction to be kind of keeping your eyes on, with the little hints of shiny, or with the black being thrown in as like, oh, this person's got some evil intentions. They're going to wear a black accessory or a black belt. So there was some good. Visually, this movie was decent.
Yeah. Well, and the way they do this one, like I talked about it, that it's a transition away from a female Yakuza series to female Yakuza with horror. It does make me think of, like, budgetarily. There's a collection of movies we've done. I think we did one of them with when there's a studio named Shochiko. Nikatsu did this one. Shochiko, in, I think around this time when they were having financial issues.
Sure.
We did Plan X from Outer Space.
Oh, yes.
Or X from Outer Space, that's what it was. But they deviated to do 4 lower budget horror films because horror historically is usually cheap to shoot.
Sure.
And hopefully they can make their money back pretty quickly. So you can see where, like, that's bleeding into this a little bit of, like, granted I haven't seen the last 2, so I can't say how much better they were, or like how much they were different, but it gets that feeling of knowing, okay, there's 2 others, so they're going to go a little cheap and make it horror. And especially, like, so Ishii is considered a little bit of a hack director.
Oh,
so, like, he wasn't really taken seriously, so them hiring him to do this, probably for a cheaper budget, you can see...
It's giving Shrek 3, but it actually ended up being... Shrek 3 ended up being very good as opposed to what they had hoped.
Oh no, Shrek 3 sucked.
They were hoping...
Shrek 4 was awesome.
It was. They didn't think it was going to be, though. No. But it gives the same sense of, like, you're not going to give the 3rd, 4th, 5th one in the series to the brand new good director.
Yeah,
you're going to give it to the guy he'll take it for a little bit cheaper. he'll make it. Everyone will have fun.
Yeah, you kind of dipped off in the series. You're expecting it to print money.
Yeah. I can see definitely where this movie is starting to show that. But I think it still didn't hurt to look at it.
Yeah, I mean, you also got to remember that this is at the end of the era of Japanese cinema, serial cinema.
True. We're getting rid of the 20 plus movies per genre.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I just think that the biggest thing for me is none of the characters really have a chance to shine.
No, but visually this movie's interesting. So the fact that the characters were kind of null, it did balance out, I think.
Just a little bit.
I mean, it's not a great movie, but it's a balanced bad movie.
Yeah, so then Chris, rent by streamer declined that we ever watch Blind Woman's Curse despite having an audio recording of it.
I would stream this one for free. I would put this one in a long line of I'm having an evening where I'm watching this genre.
I'm pretty sure it's on Tubi.
I think it is. If it's not, this is very Tubi coded.
There's a lot of Arrow films that end up on Tubi. So.
Yes, and granted, I have been going down a bit of this especially 70s, either Yakuza or just general period pieces that are free on either YouTube or Tubi or wherever, and it is a fun genre. I would put this one probably at the start of an evening of watching a set of those. I don't know for me personally if I'd pay money for this one, just because I'm lacking so much info.
Yeah, I'm in the realm of I would rent this one.
Sure.
And while I personally do love owning this in my collection,
it is a nice piece.
Yeah, I don't see owning it really making up unless you really want to know more of the history around the movie from Sharp.
Sure, I could see owning this if you were a big fan of one of either the actress or director.
Yeah, both for me.
Yeah, which I mean makes sense.
Yeah, so it's for me it's a good to have in the collection, but I definitely. I can't 100% recommend buying this, and I think this one's out of print with Arrow, so...
Yeah, and Arrow stuff's not exactly the cheapest way to collect, so I get it.
Yeah, so... Yeah, I definitely say rent it. It's a fun time if you're not trying to think too hard and look into it like we have.
I tried too hard, and that was my main flaw.
Yeah.
So, yeah, watching it for fun, though, I did enjoy.
Good. But... we have to agree that we are leaving revenge behind now, just like the main characters agreed to put their differences aside.
Yeah, the worst ending ever.
Well, and at least the female variety, because I'm very excited for our next little arc. We are gonna go into it, and I hope hopefully you're not going into it as blind as you went into this one.
I'm not, and I'm actually really looking forward to it.
Well, good, because it is a return to a movie we've done previously.
Yes, it is.
But anywho, this has been the Good, the Bad, and the Weird podcast MicroViews.
Thanks for listening.
Peace. Thank you for stopping by this here town of the Good, the Bad, and the Weird. We appreciate your listenership, and if you want more of our takes in your life, feel free to check us out on social media at The Good, the Bad, and the Weird Podcast, or TGTBTW for short. As well, if we missed a fact, your favorite part of a movie, or just have a suggestion and want to reach out and say howdy, feel free to email us at tgtbtwpodcast@gmail.com. And feel free to join our Discord at The Good, the Bad, and the Weird Podcast, where we talk about movies, just share random banter here and there. And always, check out our podcasters, streamers, or any other content creator we shout out in our episodes. We really appreciate it. And as always, thank you for listening. Peace!